Okay, so a while back I was feeling low, and so I decided I'll go and get something fun and beautiful at Hobby Lobby. So I initially had looked at these gelatos, and then they got reduced on massive sale to like a fourth of what they normally cost. And I love the colors, so I picked up several sets of them. I ended up returning 2 of the sets and I wanted to return them all except that I had already used them, so I didn't want to return something I had used. I don't think that's really right with art materials. But these are, if you're a pastel person, maybe you'd like them, but from a watercolor perspective, they are not really fun to work with. They're very frustrating to me. They do move around a little bit, but I can't draw over them with inks or anything like that, so I'm getting rid of those to a friend or letting my kids play with them. And I went back and I got this tropical set, and I did a video, and I'll post it. But I absolutely loved it, and so I've had it now for a month, and I've done a lot of great stuff with it. Let me see here. That's not done. Did this. I used it a lot in my my sketchbook revival class. I used it on here. And I did a new sketchbook. I worked on trying to do all the mixes, try and get an idea of what colors I can get out of this set of 12 colors, and I'm pretty happy with it. I even ended up doing a mix chart just to see what type of skin tones I can get from it, and I came to the conclusion that I really did need either a black or a true red, so that I could mix the red with the blue and get black. So I went back and I got the classic set, which has a true red and it has a black. And so now I'm trying to figure out how to condense these 2 sets into one so that I can take it traveling with me. But I wanted to show you the rest of my haul because Hobby Lobby right now has this massive sale where I think they're phasing out sketchbooks of some sort. I'm not sure. I know I had gotten these Stillman and Byrne sketchbooks there, and from a watercolor and sketchbook perspective, I really like them because they're thick enough and they're hardy enough. They're not a true cotton, they're a cellulose. It's not true cotton, but this, I did all my sketchbook revival and all of the project portfolio notes, and I could sketch in it along with my notes, and I could do character studies, and I could do all the things that I needed to do in it. So when they had all these sketchbooks for sale, I picked up a ton. This actually has another 4th one that's green. This is a Fabriano. It's made in Italy, and I think they're just like the perfect size to have in your purse. It's got a nice, soft, smooth texture, and it's actually perforated so that you can tear out the pages, which is really nice. And they come in these just such cheerful colors. I like having cheerful colors around me because it just kind of perks you up a little bit. I can't remember what those were, but they were like $1.80 or something like that for a set of 4, which I think is fantastic. This Quattro Pad was $1.74. It is just for sketching. I can't do watercolor on it, but it's nice, and it does it have the perforation? Yeah, it's got perforation too, way back near the binding. Yep. I won't rip that out of there, but it's a nice pad. It's got such a nice smooth color. It's just very tactile. I picked up this Strathmore watercolor for $5.24, which is fantastic. And the cover is like a leather color. It's a really, really soft cover. I mean, it just feels so nice to touch. It's 140 pound. It's a cold press service. I'm really looking forward to using it, and I'm probably going to take this with me when I go up north, and it's just going to be nice to be able to sketch in this and be able to do my watercolor. I picked up two different size, or two of these. This was $2.24, this was also $2.24. They're just slightly different size. One's 6x9, one's 5.5 by 8.5. 65 pound, this is 80 pound, 100 sheets, and this has got 100 sheets. And this is 90, oh no, never mind. Anyway, so I like this. I like that it had this tips and techniques on the inside cover, and it's perforated cover, or perforated pages. And really, I just, you know, when you see a price like that on a sketchbook, you just gotta pick up a bunch. And I picked up several of these, and I initially had gotten this for my youngest, who's about 2. She's going on 3. And my thought was, well, this is the right size for a little kid, right? Well, she was sketching in it, and then she saw mine, which was $3 for, you know, 8.5 by 11. And she's like, can I have the big sketchbook? And so I went downstairs and I got one for her, and I brought it upstairs, and she just like laid her head on it and hugged it and was like, I'm such a good girl, I get a big sketchbook. And she was just so happy with it. So I went back and bought a couple more of this size, because for $3 I don't need real fancy paper when I'm doing my character sketches and things like that. It is a heavier paper. I don't think I can do watercolor washes on it, but it is good enough for my inks and is good enough for sketching things out. And so let's see here. I got a couple of Denick, and I do like that they help build schools and that these lay flat, which is real important to me because my oldest daughter, okay, so these were $2 for the 5.25 by 8.25, and then $3.50 for 7x9. And so I gave one of these. I have 2 like this and 2 like this. So one of these I gave to my oldest, and she's a lefty. So being left-handed, the spirals just annoy her. So I had already gotten her one. I went back and got a second one, and then I also got these 2 as well, just because my kids go through so many sketchbooks. I go through so many sketchbooks, and I lose them, and I misplace them, and they're upstairs and downstairs, they're at work, they're in my car. I never know where they are, so it's always good to have another sketchbook somewhere. And for the price, you really can't go wrong. I mean, you really can't. So I got these 3 as well, mostly for my oldest, but also me. I like to be able to lay my books flat. I like that more than the spiral sometimes. I mean, I loved being able to go across the pages and really not feel like I'm getting in the way going across it. It's like one continuous sheet instead of 2 separate sheets. Because in the spiral notebooks, I have a tendency to flip it over so it's a separate sheet rather than working across 2 sheets, because this just becomes a barrier to both sides. So, and this is a Strathmore Mixed-Media. It's a 98 pound, and I'm able to do some watercolor on it and ink, and I can't do a whole lot of watercolor on it. I can't do layers, but I can do watercolor pencils and my watercolors if I do a single layer and feel pretty good about it. I mean, obviously it's my sketchbook, so it's not great stuff in here, but anyway, So I like the spirals sometimes, and sometimes I like to be able to fold it out. I also got this one, which is from Penitalic. I've gotten their pens, and I have one of their sketchbooks from the past, and I liked the sketchbook and I liked the pens, and it was $3.50. 11 by 8.5. It's a sketchbook, and the paper was 70 pounds, so it's just, you know, pen and ink, pencil, but it has a nice feel to it. And like I said, you know, for $3.50, I mean, goodness. And I think these came out because they changed the cover, so they're getting rid of the old ones with the covers. So I really, if it's going on at your Hobby Lobby, go and check it out and just load up. I mean, I got a ton of sketchbooks, and I'm set now for a long time. And I know my husband was frustrated with me because I kept coming home with more sketchbooks, but at the same time, it's like, I can't afford, I mean, this is normally $20. I spent $20 on about 10 of these. I didn't get all of these for $20. I think, I'm trying to remember how much I spent total. But I could not afford to spend $10 for that, and seven's not that bad, but you know, this was originally $14 and these are normally $12. I got a great deal. And anyway, so I recommend going and loading up on sketchbooks. And I'd love to see what you got in your sketchbooks. And I do recommend these Prima watercolors. They have them at Hobby Lobby, but they're in the sketchbook section, okay? They're not in the watercolor section, which is a bit bizarre to me. But they have such gorgeous colors. And one more thing I got this used McCall's books for $4. And you're like, this is a drawing channel, this is painting, why are we looking at this? Well, the reason is that you have a lot of body references, okay? So you can look through this and you've got different types of clothing, you see how it wears on the body, you can see the different textures, you can see the different proportions for the kids. You've got women's clothing, I believe there's men's clothing in here. I got this one more because I knew that there was costumes in the back, which granted they're not historically accurate, but I'm not trying for historical accuracy. I might just be looking for some whimsical variation on it. So that's why I have it. I mean, it's just nice to have for body references and for clothing references. And I mean, it's better than looking it up on the internet. You got it right there. You can just plop your book out and sketch from it. So, another option for you. Another thing from my haul.